and we shall shine. Shine, shine, shine. We shall shine. Shine, shine, shine. We shall shine. Shine, shine, shine.
Comunque téléphone du même endroit.
I can hear you, Jerry, but I get nothing on the mic.
In Kigali, she wakes up, she looks at choice. Ramallah, in Tangier, she takes a breath, lifts up her voice,
remain pending for the to the entry for the studio. Thank you.
You cry and I hear you. We are one woman. You hurt and I hurt too. We are one woman. Your hopes are mine, and we shall shine. In Wallace, she speaks the truth. She reaches out, then teaches others how to. In Jaipur, she gives her name. She leaves without shame. In Manila, Sultan, though we're different as can be, we're connected, she with me. We are one woman. Your courage keeps me strong. We are one woman. You sing, I sing along. We are one woman. Your dreams are mine, and we shall shine. We shall shine.
And one man, he hears her voice, fights her fight. For the old ways, one woman at a time.
Though she's half a world away, something in me wants to say, we are one woman. Your victory saves us all. We are one woman. You rise and I stand tall. We are one woman. The world is mine, and we shall shine. Shine, shine, shine. Shine, shine, shine. We shall shine. Shine, shine, shine.
Comunque téléphone du même endroit.
I can hear you, Jerry, but I get nothing on the mic.
In Kigali, she wakes up, She makes our choice in Hanoi, Natal, Ramallah. In Tangier, she takes a breath, lifts up her voice. You world away. Something in me wants to say, we are one woman. You cry and I hear you. We are one woman. You hurt and I hurt too. We are one woman. Your hopes are mine, and we shall shine. In Wallace, she speaks the truth. She reaches out, then teaches others how to. In Jaipur, she gives her name. She lives without shame. In Manila, Sultan. Mama, your courage keeps me strong. We are one woman. You sing, I sing alone. We are one woman. Our dreams are bright, and we shall shine.
Excellency, the Ambassador Dr. Pankaj Sharma to join us. The moment he steps in, we commence our event. At the outset, very
I wonder if you can hear me. Hi, Shrimati. Am I heard? Can I be heard or not?
Yes, I can hear you fine, thanks.
Okay.
We are one woman. Your riches make superstar. We are one woman. You rise and I stand tall. We are one woman.
hello, Anjali. Muted, I guess.
I can't hear.
Yeah.
Hello, Professor Sharda.
Hello,
Namaskar,
can you
Karuna
hear
ma'am.
me?
Karuna ma'am, namaskar.
Yeah. Namaskar.
And
That's what I was.
namaskar.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I
Shobna ji,
just.
namaskar.
Okay.
Namaskar, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You're audible, ma'am. We are very happy that you could join us. These are the esteemed women, highly acclaimed women from India who will be felicitated today online. It is a multi-transmission event. So they are online with us on StreamYard, and we are online on only in Mexico we can do these things. I think so. It requires a very round of applause. We will welcome all these eminent people from India. Um, Dignitaries, we are waiting for His Excellency, the Ambassador.
I think Shobna and I, we were in that committee on women in science, which Nyas had undertaken. We were members,
Good
if you
morning,
remember.
Buenos dias, Mexico and Belize. Good evening, India. A very warm welcome to you all who have joined us online from countries like Colombia, Ecuador, Belize, Mexico, and India. It truly warms our heart. Swagatam, bienvenidos. I am Dr. Shrimati Das, First Secretary and Director of the Gurudev Tagore Indian Cultural Center, Embassy of India at Mexico. Professor Anjali Gera Roy, Department of Humanities, Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, India, will be your moderators for this much looked forward to event on the occasion of the International Women's Day of 8th March, which is celebrated worldwide today. We are thankful to the Premier Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, India, for collaborating with us for this event. Thank you, Anjali. At the very outset, we are indeed extremely honored by the gracious presence of His Excellency, the Ambassador of India to Mexico, Dr. Pankaj Sharma. Let us welcome him with a big round of applause. Mr. Ambassador. We are equally delighted to welcome an eloquent spokeswoman on Gandhian's perspective on women empowerment, the event speaker Sonia Dieto, founder director of Ora World Mandala Mexico Gujarat Vidyapeeth, the university founded by Mahatma Gandhi in 1913. Sonia. A very warm welcome to all 6 eminent women achievers from India and Mexico who would be felicitated today and sharing their expert views on women, her presence, and her contribution in different spheres of life. Professor Karuna Chenana, Professor Sharada Srinivasan, Dr. Shobhana Narsiman from India, Dr. Annie Jose Kututara, Dr. Wendy Felix Rodriguez, Professor Nandini Sarma Iyer from Mexico. Bienvenidos. They are all leaders in their own right. Welcome to you, women achievers. You make us proud. My pleasure to welcome the embassy officials and their spouses, invited teachers and students from different universities of Mexico, esteemed invitees, members of the Indian diaspora, and welcome to the online viewers from India, Mexico, Belize, Colombia, Ecuador, and Venezuela. We are live now on is Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. This initiative connects women from all sectors in redefinition of frontline leadership that is winning against COVID-19 and is inspiring the action required to come out of the pandemic stronger as part of the decade of action to reach the Sustainable Development Goals. Without much ado, it is my singular privilege to invite His Excellency, the Ambassador of India to Mexico, Dr. Pankaj Sharma, to deliver the welcome address. Mr. Ambassador, we are so happy to welcome you. Kindly do us this honor, sir.
And we are all celebrating this day. So, the men are not as rich as women. And I had silver rings, so what I decided is to have some gold in my tie to be able to celebrate this big day with you. Well, It's a great honor and privilege for me to speak from this podium, which was once occupied by Dr. Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit as the first ambassador of India to Mexico, apart from being the first Indian woman to hold a cabinet portfolio. Assembly, and such is the position enjoyed by women in India. I am very delighted to be a part of this International Women's Day celebration, a day which is celebrated globally to honor the social, political, economic, cultural, and historical achievements of women. However, for us in India, it has a much wider connotation. It is a celebration of the essence of womanhood, which finds expression beyond the limitation of these narrow fields. It is a celebration of woman power, Stri Shakti, which has been worshipped since the time immemorial. Three of the most important elements in Hindu belief are ascribed to the trident of goddesses: Goddess Saraswati, symbolizing knowledge and education; Goddess Lakshmi, symbolizing wealth and prosperity; and Goddess Durga, symbolizing the power of good over evil, demonstrating the highest value society places on women. India owes its independence from the 200-year colonial rule just sorry, as much to women freedom fighters who fought shoulder to shoulder with the men. Their sacrifices are written in the annals of history. It was therefore only natural that women were given prominent roles in all areas, including the governance of a newly founded republic. The same is true of many other nations. Some of the most influential women leaders. Mexico in the early 2020 became the first country in the global south to adopt a feminist foreign policy and was the first country in the world that made it mandatory for political parties to nominate women for governor race. India too enunciated a national policy for women goals aligning with the SDGs. It is this shared history and contemporary linkages that we are celebrating today. This progress did not come so easy as we may think. Women had to fight and struggle hard to achieve equality, and the struggle is yet not over. It required Hansa Mehta from India, who made the historical contribution to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by changing the words, "All men are born free and equal," to "All human beings are born free and equal." Hansa rights in the Constitution of India was equally remarkable. The Indian Constitution ensured equal participation of women by granting them an equal right to voting the very same year the country was born, something that many countries, including from the Western world, took hundreds of years to grant. This is an ongoing process. For example, India on its part has empowered women by granting them 33% reservation of the key positions in the panchayats, the local grassroots governing bodies. 3% have taken up positions of authority and are discharging their responsibilities with commendable outcomes. Inspiration for some of these policies are rooted in Mahatma Gandhi's teachings. He said, and I quote, "When you educate a man, you educate an individual. When you educate a woman, you educate the whole family," unquote. Taking it forward, our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, launched the campaign Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Save Girl, Educate Girl Child, which has, as a diplomat, I am proudly reminded I had more women colleagues than men in the division, a trend which I am only happy to inherit in the embassy here. Besides Dr. Das, I have Valerie, Ankita, and Juhi as my very able colleagues, besides several Mexican women colleagues in the embassy, and I wish to pay my tribute to all of them. Friends, today, when the world is going through several Council Resolution 1325, which recognizes women as agents integral to achieving peace, stability, and security. India, too, attaches high priority to promoting gender equality and the meaningful participation and agency of women in arms control, non-proliferation, and in disarmament. India has been working closely with UN Women, UN Peacekeeping, and other relevant UN agencies to advance women's role and participation. And in view of its significant contributions, India has been lauded as a role model by the United Nations. India's commitment is evident through its contribution of the female-formed police unit to the UN mission in Liberia in 2018, which represented the first ever women contingent in the history of UN peacekeeping. Closer home, we all remember the seminal role played by Ambassador Arundhati Ghosh, who, among many others, made significant contributions to the field of international security, which was seen more recently when both our ministers of external affairs and defense were women. A number of distinguished women serve in leadership roles in various ministries, including our current Minister of State for External Affairs, Her Excellency Ms. Meenakshi Lekhi. You would agree that a single 24-hour day is too short for me, or for anyone for that matter, to deliver encomiums to womankind, or for appreciating and recognizing all that women bring to this world. Let me therefore conclude with an ancient Indian thought, best expressed through the Sanskrit shloka, Yatra Naryastu Pujayante Ramante Tatra Devataha, which means where women are worshipped, there exists the abode of gods. I hope we can internalize this beautiful thought and implement it in our everyday life so that we do not have to wait for the 8th of March every year. Let each day be the International Women's Day. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for doing us this honor. Your address, where you have spoken about certain perennial truths and facts about women's existence, truly warms the listeners' and viewers' hearts and instills in us much courage and hope to surge ahead. We move ahead. With your kind permission, sir, we have now Durga Avatar, the 10 arms of Durga, symbolizing woman as a multiclass. Ernesto de la Teja, an ICCR scholar, Durga Avatar. So it was Dr. Pankaj Sharma's suggestion to me, which we incorporated into this last moment, that the 10 arms of Durga, what it symbolizes in the women context, has to be told to the audience. Otherwise, this event, starting with Durga Avatar, will lose the inner core of the meaning. Now, the conch, the first hand holds the conch. It symbolizes that she is the Om, the root of the all sounds in the world. The second is bow and arrow. The bow and arrow are the symbols of energy of a woman. The thunderbolt, Durga, same as in the hands of a woman, symbolizes the firmness. The fourth one, half-bloomed lotus. It symbolizes that success is certain for a woman if she decides it. The sword, the fifth hand of a woman, symbolizes knowledge and keen intellect. The sixth, Sudarshan Chakra. The beautiful Sudarshan Chakra the discuss what you say, in the index finger of goddess Durga symbolizes righteousness or dharma. She is the keeper of dharma, either in the society or in the family. Seventh is Trishul, the trident. The symbols three qualities: sattva, salvation; rajas, peace; eighth is Abhaya Mudra. 10 hands of Durga is always in the position of blessing her devotees. That is the Abhaya Mudra. Ninth is the mace. It symbolizes love, loyalty, devotion. And the 10th is the snake, which symbolizes the lower state of consciousness to the higher state of consciousness. It is the woman who internalizes this consciousness and spreads it to her family and to her society. With this 10 hands symbolizing goddess Durga, I request the ICCR scholar Ernesto de la Teja to give the short rendition of Ambika Avatar.
তুমি জাগো জাগো দুর্গা জাগো দশ প্রহরণ ধারিণী অভয় শক্তি বল প্রদায়িনী তুমি জাগো জাগো তুমি জাগো জননী বদনা অতুলা জননী বদনা অজরায় অতুলা বহু বল ধারিণী ত্রিভু বল ধারিণী চন্দ্রিকা শঙ্করী জাগো জাগো মা জাগো আসুর বিনাশিনী তুমি জাগো জাগো দুর্গা জাগো দশ প্রহরণ ধারিণী অভয়া শক্তি বল প্রদায়িনী তুমি জাগো জাগো তুমি জাগো
This wonderful rendition of goddess Durga, which symbolizes the elimination of the evil in the hands of the women, either in the society or in the system of the things. Now we have the felicitation to the women achievers. We start with the India, and I request Dr. Anjali Geraroy, Professor of Humanities at Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, India, who has taught courses in language, literature, cultural studies, and post-colonial literature. She is an eminent writer of books and articles on films, cultural studies, specializing on African fiction and Indo-Canadian works of literature. She is a highly accomplished woman, very well known in the research and in the writers' circle, and we are extremely privileged to have the collaboration with the Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Kharagpur. Professor head this part of the program. Anjali, you are muted, I guess. Yeah. Now you're audible. Yeah.
No, she's still muted. Not here. Hmm.
Maybe you should try exiting and entering again, and at that time check the audio.
Anjali, you are not audible. Hola, Anjali. That you check the connections at your end, Anjali. Uh, Hello. Hello, Karuna ma'am.
Yes, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. There is some problem with Anjali's connection, I guess.
Hmm. If you can introduce me, I can then speak. First, I would like that somebody should introduce me before I
Yes, yes,
speak.
of course, ma'am. Somebody will be
Maybe
introducing
you
you.
can do it. You can do it. I've sent you the CV.
Yes, yes. So, Anjali, I would like to take this. I will just go ahead with the event. Professor Karuna is from the Department of Humanities, and she is the Dean of the Zakir Hussain Chair at Jawaharlal Nehru College, Jawaharlal Nehru University at Delhi. A very prominent women manager in higher education. She is the pioneer in the UGC sponsored programs, and she has been decorated with many awards, particularly in the UNESCO, and she has got the grants from many American universities. And particularly, I would like to talk two sentences here about Karuna Chanana's contributions towards gender empowerment, particularly in the higher education sector, where she capacitated. I am one of the her beneficiaries, where she taught us how to occupy the higher echelons of the higher education system, like why women cannot be the vice chancellors. There are so many less vice chancellors. So she is the person who has motivated us, trained us through 5 modules called as capacity building of women managers in higher education. Rest, I will ask ma'am to talk about her work. The time given to her to talk
Thank you.
government in
Should I?
India. Namaskar ma'am, bienvenidos.
Okay. Do I start? Okay. Greetings to His Excellency Dr. Pankaj Sharma, the Ambassador of India to Mexico, and to Dr. Shrimati Das, the Director of the Gurudev Tagore Indian Cultural Center, Embassy of India, Mexico. I am very grateful for this honor bestowed on me for my humble contribution to improving our understanding of the status of women in India. In doing so, I hope I have helped raise awareness of gender issues in higher education, especially the absence of women leaders in higher educational institutions. My first instance of gender awareness was in school. I was in 10th standard in an all girls school, and we were selected to take part as a marching contingent in the National Sports Day in Delhi. This was a great honor for the school and for the selected students. We started practicing with a male trainer several days before the event. I was the senior most student and also the leader of this group. One day, while correcting the moves of a sixth standard student, the instructor roughly pulled her forearm. I disapproved his behavior and pointed this to the physical training teacher and later to the principal, and suggested that he be told not to touch or pull girls. They failed to understand my stance, and no action was taken. So I boycotted the march past, along with a few girls from the contingent. But soon I was left alone. The principal tried to talk to me and also sent a message home. My family supported me. No punishment was assigned to me by the principal. She asked, "What's the problem? After all, he's an elderly man and she's a child." But then one of the teachers, a freedom fighter, made me stand in her class being held in the open ground. I was the topper in the school and I was meant to be part of the parade and therefore the dilemma of the school. Finally, the principal agreed. The trainer was given the message and I was back in the march past. No one had heard of gender or women empowerment then, but my father had been active in improving women's social status in the independence movement. I think that positive experience, though hearsay, had rubbed off on me. Another landmark was when I introduced gender perspective in the Sociology of Education course for MPhil students, women and men. This was a challenging task, teaching gender to a mixed group of students in the mid 1970s when hardly anyone was teaching gender in the academia. I believe it made a difference in the gender perspective of students, women and men who took my course. However, my most important and satisfying contribution has been as a trainer and resource person in the program, which Shrimati mentioned, on the capacity building of women managers in higher education. I was only one of the cogs in the wheel, but it is very satisfying to see several of the participants overcoming the systemic barriers, moving to the top while becoming role models for others. Last 2 days, I've heard two women have become vice chancellors. With these examples, however, I also want to point out two things. One, that while there are those that have stood in the path of this change, I have also benefited from the support of those who taught me to break stereotypes. Second, it is important to remember that even small efforts matter. A boycott of a parade by one student may not mean much, but it hopefully showed others the difference between good touch and bad touch, especially in the context of girls, and the need and potential for change. Each of these examples have a small impact on their own, but one cannot underestimate the impact when taken together, both on me and on others. Thank you again, Mr. Ambassador and Dr. Das. I hope I haven't overstepped the time limit of 3 minutes.
Thank you, Karuna ma'am. I would request His Excellency the Ambassador Dr. Pankaj Sharma to hand over the plaque and the certificate to Karuna Chanana, and this will reach you by post very soon. थोड़ा बैठ जाइए इसको जूम करते हैं this honor. Moving on, we have now the second women achiever from India, Professor Shobana Narsiman, who grew up in Mumbai. She was an undergraduate at St. Xavier's College, Mumbai, and she finished her PhD in physics from Harvard University in 1996. She obtained her PhD in physics from Harvard University in 1991. She did her postdoctoral at Brookhaven National University Laboratory, USA, and the Fritz Haber Institute, Berlin, Germany. Since 1996, she has been on the faculty of Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research in Bangalore, India. Formerly, she was the chair of the Department of Theoretical Sciences there. She was also the Dean of Academic Affairs. Her research is on computational nanoscience. She uses the techniques of density functional novel nanomaterials with desired properties. She has a strong interest in promoting gender equity in science, in teaching physics in developing countries, and in science outreach. She has held a number of national and international administrative positions. She is a fellow of the National Academy of Sciences, India, and Indian Academy of Sciences. She was also elected as international honorary member of the American Academy of Arts and Science. Ma'am, you have a hallowed Dr. Pankaj Sharma. I invite you to address in the 3 minutes allotted to you. With a big round of applause, let us welcome Professor Shobana Narasimhan. Ma'am, the floor is all yours.
Yeah. His Excellency Dr. Pankaj Sharma, Dr. Shrimati Das, Dr. Anjali Geranas, friends, buenos dias, good evening. First of all, I would like to thank the Embassy of India in Mexico, the Gurudev Tagore Indian Cultural Center, and IIT Kharagpur for this honor. I'm humbled by your having chosen to felicitate me as a woman achiever. I'm also privileged to share this platform with so many remarkable women, including my old friend, Professor Sharda Srinivasan. I have visited Mexico only once, but I loved it. It's a pity I can't be there in person this time, and I certainly hope that I can visit again. Our two countries have so much in common. A rich culture, both pre-colonial and post-colonial, excellent science, great food, and of course, strong women. The percentage of women in the scientific task force is rather low in India. It's only about 14%. Mexico actually does much better. It's at about 33% there. Women in the developing world, who are scientists, may be said to work within two sets of constraints, those arising from their gender and those arising from having to work in a poor country and therefore lack of resources, a lack of facilities. And I'm especially concerned about promoting women in science in the developing world, studying the factors impacting them and trying to help them overcome the obstacles they face. So in addition to carrying out my scientific research, I have been working through giving talks and conducting workshops to raise awareness of the difficulties faced by women in science, especially in the developing world. And in these workshops, we try to give them a space in which to share their experiences, to acquire various skills that can help them rise in their careers, and to help them form a support network, which I think is very, very important. My journey in science has sometimes been a struggle, as it can be for many women, but it's always also been very rewarding. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the many friends, both women and men, who helped ease my path. Also, on this International Women's Day, I wish to acknowledge the debt I owe to a truly remarkable woman, a well-known musician and feminist journalist, who's my mother, Dr. Shakuntala Narasimhan. I look forward to a bright future where all women are encouraged to achieve their dreams. I'll conclude by saying from Arundhati Roy, which I really like, another world is not only possible, she is on her way. On a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. Thank you very much, all of you. I'm very honored and privileged, and it was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your brief take on what is the International Women's Day. I would request His Excellency Dr. Pankaj Sharma to hand over this plaque to ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. The third woman to be felicitated on this International Women's Day by the Embassy of India, Gurudev Tagore Indian Cultural Center, is Professor Sharada Srinivasan, who has made pioneering contributions by exploring engineering applications in the characterization of ferrous and non-ferrous metallurgy and artisanal technologies. My God. Her work has explored numerous threads of the connection between metals and civilization. That is what has attracted me to her bio. The metals and civilization to a broader connection with the old world, Southeast Asia, West Asia, and the Mediterranean. She has worked on archaeometric characterization, fingerprinting, and metal artifacts, and prized South Indian and Chola metal icons such as the Nataraja bronze using frontline lead isotope and ratio geometry chemistry analysis. She has documented numerous pre-industrial landscapes for crucible production of aka UHCS, to show that it was a technology pioneered in the southern part of Indian subcontinent. She identified the skill used by intermetallic compounds to make beta bronze, tin bronze, and to make Indian megalithic sites, mirror crafts of spectacular high delta of bronze and other rare foundries of artisanal tradition. She is a highly prolific writer, having countless papers in highly refereed journals, and author of numerous books such as Indian Legends of Metal, Digital Humpy Metals and Civilization. Material research, she has been honored by the Fellow of Royal Asiatic Society of Great Britain and the Indian Institute of Metal Certificate of Excellence in 2007, Materials Research Society of India Medal 2006, Malti B. Nagar Ethno-Archaeology Award. There are so many awards. The awards itself would take a another event for me. So I'm sorry, Sharda Srinivasan, because I cannot read out your CV. It is exhausting. She has a major exhibition on digital technology in the documentation of heritage with 3D printed models of architectural temples of Vijayanagar area and related mixed reality displays at the National Museum, the Pioneer Museum, the Hallowed Museum at New Delhi in 2020. Professor Sharda Srinivasan, you do us proud, and we are really honored to honor you today. Welcome. The floor is all yours for the 3 minutes of your presentation. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much. And let me say that it's a great privilege here. Thank you, Your Excellency, Dr. Pankaj Sharma, Dr. Shrimati, Dynamic Director of the Tagore Cultural Center, my long-standing friend, Dr. Anjali Gherao from IIT Kharagpur, and Dr. Shobna Narasimhan. It's a great honor to be felicitated in this international platform, and of course by the Tagore Cultural Center. And we've also drawn a lot of inspiration from the words of Gurudev Tagore, especially Ekla Chalore, which I think really resonates in my case, because it was a case of really taking the roads less traveled in many ways, and forging my own out-of-the-box identity, because I began my career in my interests in engineering physics in IIT, where I've met my very esteemed colleagues along the way, and then I became interested in applying the scientific and spectrochemical analysis and so on in the study of cultural heritage and archaeological artifacts, which was also motivated by my close passion and interest in Bharatanatyam dance, the classical dance form of Tamil Nadu. And it was wonderful to see our Mexican colleague doing this very moving evocation of Devi and the goddess and so on. And so that is where I wanted to blend these interests. And in a way, of course, the challenges as in STEM and engineering are at one level, and in terms of archaeology and travel to remote places, that is another level of challenge also as far as women are concerned. So I think to that extent, it's a niche area of bringing in diverse interests, and so it's wonderful to be recognized. And I think women have that advantage that they can think laterally and try and combine different perspectives. And I was also coming in from the position of course, it's very topical now in terms of gender equity for sustainable development. And in my early days, of course, I think, women, of course, have to encourage women, but also they draw inspiration from the encouragement of men. And of course, in my own family, my late great-grandfather was C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer, who's known as a great reformist, and a lot of the higher education and so on, and basic education in Kerala and so on, were thanks to some of his initiatives and, promoting lawyers. So we had a lot of very strong women personalities, including my mother, who encouraged my interests in archaeology because she was also a great traveler. But I also mentioned that it was one of my late uncles, C.V. Seshadri, who also used to talk a lot about this term, equity is good science, that it's not enough just to have, this kind of very sharp divide between, modern science in terms of the high-end technology. And then there is this big gulf, and there is a lot of the informal sectors, the traditional crafts, and of course the women and the marginalized sectors. And, so they need to be drawn into the pedagogy. And, he used to express concerns about the fact that some of these traditional or handcrafts and so on are really delegitimized as being inefficient. So that also got me interested in looking at artisanal technologies, and that's how, as was mentioned about the Nataraja bronze, looking at the bronze casting and finding, for instance, that very skilled technologies of using intermetallic alloys were also being made, for instance, in these vessels going back to the megalithic period. And of course, we know about the Delhi Iron Pillar, which is a spectacular example of the Indian metallurgical heritage. But I'd also done a lot of work on the ukku steel, or urukku, which is a high carbon steel going back to the early centuries CE. And talking of the women, there is also a beautiful verse by Andal, the 9th century poetess, Tamil poetess, which says, "Ulle ulle meladu urukki vengalamutru." So she is very accurately describing the process of pouring the metal into the mold and doing the casting, and also making a metaphoric connection there with her devotion to the Lord Vishnu, and praying for the rain in equating it to this flow of wax and so on. So there's beauty is also there when we look at the earlier records and cultural heritage of the connections between the technology and the philosophy and the art and the aesthetics, which also gives it a certain a sense of resonance. And I think it's also wonderful to have in this conversation the reference to Mexico, which is the Mesoamericas are another great civilization which has, in a very independent way, produced very interesting cultural traditions. For instance, the Incas, they didn't actually get into iron smelting because of the emphasis on the breath, but they made the most phenomenal platinum gold alloys. And the Aztecs, of course, again, using turquoise and pyrite and so on, the Aztec technology in Mexico. And it's also remarkable that now we're also recognizing some of these metallurgical heritage, scientific heritage. For instance, the Zawar area of Rajasthan was a great center of pioneering the zinc smelting technology. And some of our work is also to give prominence to some of these sites of scientific heritage. And so this all becomes world heritage. So these are also aspects in which it would be great to have greater connections with the broader, of course, we do have these connections in many parts of the world, but to also expand it to the South Americas and so on. So this has been a wonderful occasion to express some of these thoughts and share with you some of our journeys. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharda Srinivasan, for your great sharing of your ideas. To hand over the plaque to you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for this honor. So I would like to inform our three award winners that all the plaques and the certificates would reach you, and I would personally come and hand it over to you. Because sir has sanctioned my home leave, and I'm going to go there and I'm going to hand it over to you personally. It is a great privilege that you have accepted the honor from Embassy of India, Gurudev Tagore Indian Cultural.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful.
For this great collaboration with Indian Institute of Technology, we have no words enough to thank you. Namaskar. I know it is very late in India. Please be with us and please till the end of this event. Now we come to the felicitation of the Mexican achievers. I would request the ambassador to felicitate our first Mexican Research Award winner. And I'm sorry, I know that you deserve a standing ovation. And Dr. Wendy Jacqueline Phillips Rodriguez, you are a star. She obtained her PhD. She is a Mexican, born Mexican, but she University, England. Her thesis in Sanskrit was awarded as the outstanding doctoral dissertation by the International Association in Sanskrit Studies, IASS, in 2009. For this, you need a great applause. Since 2008, she has been working as a research fellow and professor in Sanskrit, and she is currently the holder of the Sanskrit chair at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, UNAM, which is the largest in the Spanish-speaking world. During the past decades, Professor Wendy has been imparting education about classical Indian culture to Mexico and other Spanish-speaking students, and is instrumental in developing several courses and teaching material. Professor Phillips has translated, hold your breath, ladies and gentlemen, which I think so very rarely an Indian also could do it, and we are proud to be in Mexico, has translated into Spanish the Upanishad, the Hitopadesha, Ashtavakra Gita, and most recently Spanish, the Katha Upanishad. Can you believe it? I can't. Her contribution to popularizing Sanskrit in Mexico has seen her developing two educational board games for children. One is the Sanskrit epics, and second is the Samsara. She will be felicitated today as a woman of substance for her contribution in spreading the Sanskrit language and Indian culture in this corner of the world, the other side of the hemisphere. Has immensely Mexico and GTICC that we have forwarded her name to Government of India for the World Sanskrit Award. And we hope, sir, she gets it from your hand. We are extremely proud to felicitate her today as a woman of eminence. Professor Wendy Rodriguez, please come to the stage and accept it in the hand of His Excellency, the Ambassador of India to Mexico. Big round of applause. Purple is the color of women empowerment. It shows her security and her wisdom. Wendy? So.
She has only two hands, otherwise we would have given her.
Celebrating. Wendy, you have 1 minute to give your feedback.
Many thanks, Your Excellency, Dr. Pankaj Sharma. Many thanks, Dr. Shrimati Das, for all the work done together all these years. And I want to thank, of course, my family, my teachers, my students, some of them who are here. And I just want to share with you a very, very small shloka in Sanskrit, because it doesn't mention women, but women are implicit there. Vina Vedam, Vina Gitam, Vina Kavim Kalidasam, Vina Ramayani Katham. Well, this shloka mentions three words of literature that are essential for the Indian culture: Vedas, of whom it is known that some composers of some hymns of the Vedas were women. It speaks about Ramayana, which is the story of Rama and his wife Sita. So Sita is a model of conduct and femininity in Indian culture. And finally, it talks about the poet Kalidasa, whose heroine and female characters make very diverse the spectrum. Yeah. So I want to thank you. Really, this has been an honor. Thanks.
Thank you, Wendy, for accepting this. Professor Nandini Sarma Iyer. Our next woman of substance. She has a huge curriculum vitae. I'm shortening it. Is a postdoctoral fellow, and after a course in lake management at University of Ghent, Belgium, she took much interest in aquatic ecology, cyanobacteria, zooplankton, transgression today. The area till now, which were in the hands of a man, that has gone to the women. That is where I call as gender empowerment. A prolific writer of 275 research articles in highly reputed international scientific journals, Dr. Nandini teaches zooplankton, culture, aquaculture, ecotaxology, and the art of scientific writing. She has directed 65 students' thesis. She is instrumental in inviting research giants from Europe, America, and Indian universities to Mexico to impart various courses to students and faculty at FES Iztacala. She has been a great influence on the scientific community by expanding their horizons in scientific research. Professor Sarma is a reviewer in more than 50 internationally reputed scientific journals and in the editorial board of highly reputed scientific journals. Her laboratory has the funding by international projects and organization. All kudos to you, ma'am, for getting this funding at this time of the. In 2021, she was awarded the highly prestigious Scientific Merit Award from FES Istakala, and in 2014, she was decorated with Sor Juan Ines Award from the UNAM. The CONOCIT has recognized her work and has been the member of the Sistema Nacional de Investigadores SNI 3, which is the highest level of national recognition for investigators in. To have Dr. Nandini Sarma Iyer with us today, and proud to say she is our woman of substance from Mexico. Mr. Ambassador, kindly felicitate Professor Nandini for her achievement. Here, Nandini ji.
Thank you very much, Dr. Paras. Thank you very much, Dr. Sharma. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
May I
Nandini.
just say a word of thanks?
Yes, you have 1 minute of your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. It has been a real honor for me to receive this recognition from my beloved India. We never forget. And I'd like to begin by thanking where it all began, my father, late Air Commodore V.S. Iyer, and my mother, Mrs. Rajni Iyer, my brother, Kartik Iyer. And to tell you the truth, I have been very fortunate that in my life I never faced gender inequality. As my brother. And in my family, my dear husband, Dr. Sarma, my beloved children, Shrikant and Padmini, and it's wonderful life. I'd like to also thank my teachers, my university, the UNAM, my students, who sometimes have to face a little partial teacher, because I always try to protect young girls, especially when they come to learn, but they have the responsibility of raising a child. And they need a little special love and care. But I'm also known for being a very strict teacher. So that's a pity. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Sharma. Thank you very much, Dr. Das, for this wonderful moment. And thank you very much, all.
We will now honor Dr. Annie Jose Kutothara, a very eminent gynecologist from Mexico City. Dr. Kutothara has made her mark as a practitioner of repute. We are really indeed very grateful to Dr. Kutothara for being with us today, and we would like to tell her that you have been so popular in Mexico that after giving so many years of your life to the Mexican women, particularly in gynecology, whomever they ask me, whom are you felicitating as a medical practitioner? I said, Dr. Annie Kutothara, and they say you could not have found a better woman to felicitate than her. Please go to Dr. Annie Kutotara. Now, she is a home away from home for us, and we are very happy that we are honoring her today on behalf of Embassy of India, Gurudev Tagore Indian Cultural Center. Dr. Annie, kindly do us this. Thank you for accepting, and you have a minute.
You know, all I can say, pity that I'm not a woman.
Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador, and Dr. Srimati Das, and all of my friends and colleagues. I'm really grateful to be here and be humbled by the fact that I'm one of the women who 38 years back, maybe my spectrum was a little bit different than what we see today. You, uh, when I started my medical school, maybe the ratio of female to male in India, it was about 1 in 4. Then I finished my MBBS and followed my husband here in Mexico. Then all on a sudden I find I'm in a foreign country, I'm a foreigner, I don't have any grasp of the. I faced lot of obstacles, but I was able to finish my career successfully and develop a successful practice. Uh, I really owe a great gratitude to the Mexican community who received me with my open hands. They always supported me to understand the cultural norms, learn the language, and go through the medical, you know. So I'm really thankful. But now the situation changed. Maybe I was the first lady gynecologist, joined the prestigious ABC hospital, and become an active member of the staff. Now we can say, now the ratio within these 30 years, the ratio is almost like we are 50-50. So I think things are improving, but I small steps. Maybe at the moment it will be difficult, but one day it will be there. Thank you all.
We have the event speaker with us, Sonia Dioto. She talks on Celebrate Your Grace, Women Empowerment Through Gandhian Perspective. Let me introduce you, Sonia, to the audience, and particularly to His Excellency, the Ambassador, because you have been a part of India. You represent Gandhi in India. Sonia Dieto is an came back to Mexico, founder director of Aura World Mandala, a movement which is associated with Gujarat Vidyapeeth, university founded by Mahatma Gandhi, which visualizes the planet as a world mandala while experimenting with the constructive programs of the Mahatma, who viewed the world as one, including the indigenous, into the mainstream of everyday existence, which values their art, crafts, their rich cultural heritage, and giving equal representation to women. Sonia Ora World Mandala, a practice for ahimsa through the art and science of mandala. She is the recipient of the highly prestigious Bajaj International Award, a recognition for her work internationally. Congratulations, Sonia. I invite Sonia Dieto to give us a glimpse into Celebrate Your Grace, Women Empowerment, statue at the hands of His Excellency, and then the podium is yours. Thank you, Sonia, for this wonderful exposition of coming over here and accepting our honor at the hands of Dr. Pankaj Sharma. This is matching your dress. So, yes, yes, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. A big round of applause to our ambassador for doing this long felicitation program.
Namaskar. Friends, let me first of all thank the Ambassador of India to Mexico, Shri Pankaj Sharma, Mrs. Sharma, Dr. Shrimati Das, for Cultural T. Karakpur, for giving me an opportunity to participate in this important event. I would also like to thank all of you for taking the time to celebrate together this International Women's Day. When Dr. Das told me about the theme of this 8th March, Celebrate Your Grace, a sense of nostalgia pervaded my mind, as if the remembrance of a past civilization suddenly carried hope into our present. Let's celebrate grace by looking straight into each other's eyes without forgetting that in Mexico alone, every day 10 women are victims of femicide. Let's not forget, too, all the women who at this moment are suffering because of war. The truth often hurts. Becoming aware of it, however, motivates us to take action and redeem these acts of violence through the power of love. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, truth and nonviolence are you have in the word. and men. The unity of our heads, heart, and hands is the most powerful creative tool that we have at our disposal, regardless of religion, beliefs, and worldviews. This unity of the three H, heart, hands, and heads, evokes the Naitalim, or the educational constructive program proposed by Mahatma Gandhi that was foreign to Indian social customs. In this context, the need for the regeneration of ancestral knowledge was imperative. Mahatma Gandhi initiated the Nai Talim, an educational system that starts from the mother's womb and never ends. Thus, besides disobeying unjust laws through active nonviolence, India significantly marked the implementation of the constructive program of Mahatma Gandhi, the Nonviolent Action Guide for Indian Independence and People's Autonomy. Freedom fighters and sensitive citizens committed to Sarvodaya, the welfare of all, or better, the upliftment of all. Important because it's taken shape through the example and the action of women. We should note that women were considered by the Mahatma like the bravest and most perseverant satyagrahi, fearless people practicing the power of love. Today, more than ever, we need the satyagraha offered by the women of the world. We are constructive forces. We are a constructive force of cohesion without fear and borders at the service of new peace horizons. From every corner of our lives, whether big or small, we can practice the Naitali, the harmonious connection among together with our families, with our neighbors, and all our relations. In this way, we will be able to face these times of uncertainty, war, and moral decay. For the restoring of the universal values of peace, nonviolence, cooperation, respect, and solidarity. Women who have the strength to bear the greatest pain in order to give life to billions of humans know in their bones that suffering can be transformed into life. We are flowers blooming across an injured planet. We will persist from cycle to cycle until our fragrance pervaded the roots of humanity. Women from the East, women, let's celebrate together this amazing race. No guns, no war. All we are saying is give peace a chance. Thank you.
We will have now a very interesting presentation teacher, that is Claudia Inos, and she is a Mexican performer, and she will be performing on a short presentation on women of substance, and where she calls for Suno Suno, hear my voice, and let us hear today Claudia's voice. She represents the voice of women. Claudia, floor is yours.
सुनो 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 मेरी आवाज सुनो सुनो नया ये साज मुझे पंख मिले हैं आज मुझे लेनी है एक परवाज मुझे पंख मिले हैं आज मुझे लेनी है एक परवाज सुनो सुनो है सुनो सुनो मुझसे चले ये जहान मुझसे मिले हैं भक्ति मैं ही हूँ तेरी शक्ति मुझसे ही हूँ तेरी शक्ति सुनो 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 मेरी आवाज सुनो सुनो नया ये साज मुझे पंख मिले हैं आज मुझे लेनी है एक परवाज सुनो 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 रोशन करूं मैं जग को कोई राह मेरी न रोको मैं हूँ शक्ति मैं हूँ नारी कोई समझे ना बेचारी मैं हूँ शक्ति मैं हूँ नारी कोई समझे ना बेचारी सुनो 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 मेरी आवाज सुनो सुनो नया ये साज मुझे पंख मिले हैं आज मुझे लेनी है एक परवाज मुझे पंख मिले हैं आज मुझे लेनी है एक परवाज सुनो 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 है सुनो सुनो
Wash you not an apparition. Now we have short videos, and we want videos very short videos. We have four. First, we start with Amalia Galvano. She is the director of Los Pedos Cultural. So they are all very ennobled women. Ricardo, kindly play Amalia Galvano's video.
Hola, mi nombre es Amalia Galván, soy directora de vinculación. Que con su trabajo y su esfuerzo han hecho posible que muchos estemos hoy en los lugares donde estamos, con esta posibilidad de detonar políticas públicas en favor de las mujeres, de la mujer creadora, de la mujer artista, de la mujer pensante, de la mujer poetisa, de la mujer que donde nos ha dolido la pérdida de tantas mujeres, que esas pérdidas no sean en vano, que esas muertas que lloramos todas no sean en vano, que hoy ese dolor y esa convicción de que las cosas y que la vida puede ser diferente nos haga ser mejores mujeres en una sociedad donde los hombres puedan ir de la mano con nosotras para hacer diferentes comunidades donde
We have the next video by a message for Embassy of India, and it is by Marisol Schulz, Director General, Feria de Libro, Guadalajara, Mexico. And in 2019, India was the guest of honor, and Marisol has been very, very kind to Embassy of India at Mexico. Marisol Schulz, Ricardo, play the video.
Hello, my name is Marisol Schulz-Manaut. I am the to salute all of the women. We are celebrating the International Women's Day. And I want to thank especially Dr. Shrimati Das for this. They told me to speak a little bit about the role in promoting culture. And I remembered an African saying, an African proverb that said, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate. That is mostly true because, as we know, in the family, the women are the ones who spread the word, who help kids to learn to read, to learn to write most of the time. But I would say that the role of women in culture, at least in Mexico, is becoming every day more and more important. And I am very thankful for that. I don't want to sound sexist because and we have to take a minute to think about all of what the wonderful women around the world are doing in this field. So just this participation in order to say hello and to congratulate us for this celebration. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Video we'll have from Mariana Aymeric, Director General of Cervantino Cultural Festival, Guanajuato, Mexico. And now this year, 2023, of its existence, and participates in a big, huge manner. Mariana Aymeric, for you.
Hello everyone, I am Mariana Aymeric, General Director of Festival Cervantino and Cultural Circuits of Mexico's government. I have been in charge of this festival for 4 years, but my history in this institution is almost as long as my adult life. This year, I'm honored to lead the 50th anniversary of one of the most important festivals around the world, and I'm glad to have a strong network of women across the cultural sector we set and dreamed for it. From this spot, I also have the opportunity to develop cultural and artistic circuits that will contribute to broaden the cultural sector of Mexico. I strongly believe that the only way we can achieve great objectives is by establishing bonds with equals and practicing sorority. Through my professional life, it had helped and taught me to be a better professional and a better woman. I've always believed that we are a great option to lead any project, since we are able to balance intelligence and sensibility. We have a sharp instinct to find opportunities, to develop strategies, and make alliances. Today, we commemorate Women's Life, Women's Day. It's a reminder that we ought to seek together to fight for what should be a given right. I like to think that every day we are setting a good example for the generations to come, that we are trying to build better conditions for young people, and that I work every day to leave a better world for my child. So this day, I urge you to
of this session is Marcela Diaz, director of the Cervantino Festival 218, Guanajuato, Mexico. Now she is attached to UNAM. Marcela Diaz, a very prominent woman in the cultural circuit in Mexico.
Hello, I'm Marcela Diaz, former Director General of Festival Internacional Cervantino and current coordinator of the Audience Formation Program at the National University, UNAM. I have worked in culture and education all my life. I have dedicated myself to what I consider the quintessence of humankind, culture, which I believe is what really makes us different from any other species and the only possible road to evolution. I started traveling around the world since childhood. Many a time working in festivals has made me not only realize the power of learning beyond our own background, but the need of international cultural exchanges in order to expand our knowledge and open our minds. Not only was I able to share approaching other points of view, other aesthetics, and yet understandable because they talk to our sensations and feelings, but I was also able to interact with the cultural actors and administrators of many countries. And many a time it was with women. Why women? Women are relentless workers. We are transmitters and we like to exchange. We are also great observers. Are these qualities historical? Because women were responsible for keeping the group bound through the transmission of traditions and customs. Is it a biological condition that implies a greater need to understand the other's point of view? The fact is there is a wish in women to establish dialogue, an openness to accept difference and embrace it, a warmth. We have all it takes and more to outspread culture around us.
To share with you that out of the 4 women achievers whom we have just shown the video, 2 of them have visited India on ICCR's Distinguished Visitors Program. And next year, the rest of the 2 would be visiting. We have a very beautiful ballet now. Tu khud ki khoj mein nikal, tu kis liye हैरान है. So it is a beautiful ballet which will be presented by the 3 teachers of GTICC. Exponents of classical dances at the Cultural Center.
खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तो चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है, समय को भी तलाश है। जो तुझसे लिपटी बेड़ियां, जो तुझसे लिपटी बेड़ियां, समझ न इनको वस्त्र तू। ये बेड़ियां पिघाल के बना ले इनको शस्त्र तू, बना ले इनको शस्त्र तू। तो खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तो चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है, समय को भी तलाश है। चरित्र जब पवित्र है, तो क्यों है ये दशा तेरी? चरित्र जब पवित्र है, तो क्यों है ये दशा तेरी? ये पापियों को हक नहीं कि ले परीक्षा तेरी, कि ले परीक्षा। खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तू चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है। जला के भस्म कर उसे जो क्रूरता का जाल है, जला के भस्म कर उसे जो क्रूरता का जाल है। तू आरती की लौ नहीं, तू क्रोध की मशाल है, तू क्रोध की मशाल है। तो खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तू चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है, समय को भी तलाश है। चुनर उड़ा के ध्वज बना, गगन भी कपकपाएगा। चुनर उड़ा के ध्वज भी कपकपाएगा। अगर तेरी चुनर गिरी, तो एक भूकंप आएगा, एक भूकंप आएगा। तो खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तो चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है, समय को भी तलाश है।
Thank you, Saknikte. Thank you, Mariana. Thank you, Patricia. These were the lines to inspire women to be fearless, not to be disappointed, believe in themselves, discover their own. Heard in the voice of Amitabh Bachchan, in his baritone voice. These are the talented teachers, and I would like to have a special round of applause for my team at GTICC who made this video for this particular event. Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Gabriela. The last item of the day, I wish you will join in this. This is a boys' band. I call it as a boys' band. They are the Hindi students of GTICC. And I would request the ambassador, Dr. Pankaj Sharma, to just gloss over their Hindi, what they speak, but they have really tried their best. And I want to bring it to the notice of the participants. We started the event with a performance by a man, and we end it with a boys' band, because nothing works without the two wheels of a chariot. I believe that a woman will be empowered only is empowered by a woman. So this is very important for us to know, that there is not in segregation, but it is a complementary. So I will invite now Maximiliano and the other two Hindi students of GTICC to come and sing this song for us. Maximiliano. Now they sing, "Hey woman, we love the girl in you." They are all the students of Dr. Yogendra Sharma.
Turkiya yabanda yabakoledo Jarabisiva yabanda yababoledo Rashini atyaga bisede kuru pirsava haneda Hey woman, we love the girl in you. Hey woman, we love the girl in you. Hey yattara kula sama dele karedo. Dil ki suna, dil tana ho chupanara. Dil ki suna, dil ki ka chupnara. Chupanara. Muskara chakahera makahene kure bisava. We love the girl in you. Hey woman, we love the girl in you. Hanhiman sochikare yekushuna. Could go up to Behechaniti ho. Manhiman sochikare yekushuho. Could go up to Behechaniti ho. Yusera Makanaga Suta ho. This Hanego. Hey woman. Hey woman, we love the girl in you.
A big round of applause, and hey boys, we love you. You do us proud. One of the singers is the student of the who did the Ambika Vandana, Ernesto de la Teja's students. He is a Bharatanatyam student too. So they are all multifaceted. So we come to the end of the event today, and it marks the conclusion of this great event, and all with the guidance of a milestone in our activities of 2022 under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and India at 75. And it is a time for us to reflect the progresses made, to call for change, and to celebrate acts of courage and determination by ordinary women. We have played extraordinary role in the history of their countries and communities. Before I do the last mile of this event, I would like to thank the ambassador, Dr. Pankaj Sharma, for being with us throughout, in spite of his terribly busy schedule. So this means a lot to us, sir, you being with us. This is the solidarity what we expected. And thank you, Professor Karuna Chanana, Sharda Srinivasan, Shobna Narasimhan from India, Dr. Annie Jose Kututara, Dr. Wendy Phillips Rodriguez, Professor Nandini Sarma Iyer from Mexico. They are all leaders in their own right. Gracias. You have all taken us on a great voyage through issues, ideas, platforms, genre of exposition. Thanks to you. Last but never the least, I would like to for being with us today, because your presence gives us a lot of encouragement, and no event is complete unless I thank my great team, enable team, who see that we have a glitch free event. And this was a multi transmission. And thank you guys, thank you Ricardo Perez, thank you Aaron Espinosa, thank you Gabriela Mora, and thank you Carlos for transporting all the things from the cultural center. And I always end my uh, event with the lines from Robert. Be happy with what we have celebrated today. That should be just a stepping stone, you know. And you say, The roads are lovely, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, and we have promises to keep. Long to go before we sleep, long to go before we sleep. Viva India, viva Mexico, namaskar, gracias. Before you go, you can take your snacks. The snacks has been specially made and thank you for coming once again.
Bukan telepon. Cuma mau